Hi, we're going to go through a QEP assessment report walkthrough. So I'm going to describe a course and a project and take you through the steps you need to go through to fill out the QEP assessment report. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an imaginary course. We'll take a business marketing course, and we'll say that the instructor for that business course has decided that midway through the semester, they're going to bring in a member from a nonprofit organization here in Cherokee County that is in need of marketing materials and or perhaps a marketing campaign. So let's say that for the first half of the semester, they're going over, the basic marketing principles. I'm really not that familiar with marketing principles, but they're doing the academic work in marketing. And then after about halfway through the semester, they're going to bring in officials or officers from this nonprofit. And the students are going to be interacting with those individuals from the nonprofit organization and helping them develop marketing materials and a marketing campaign. So if we were going to fill out a QEP assessment report for this particular high-impact project, first thing we would do is we'd go to EagleWeb, go to OIRE, and then look for QEP over here on the left-hand side. After that, of course, we need the QEP assessment report form. It's right here, QEP assessment report 2019-0507. That's the latest form. We'll click on that. It will download shortly. There it is. We'll go ahead and open it up. Okay, so here we have the QEP assessment report. We'll enable editing, and then the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and save it as what we want to call it. So let's call this QEP assessment report, and I'm just going to make up a course number, Business 364, Spring 2019, something like that. Okay, and I'll just save this to the desktop. That will be easiest. All right, so I'll go in here. I'll put in my course code and section, Business 364, section 010. And the instructor, I'll pretend that it's me. All right, and this particular high-impact practice is mostly about cultural diversity, or is it mostly about professional development? Well, this is about developing skills in marketing to work in a professional arena, so we're going to go with professional development. Now, the way I've set this form up, you should be able to just click on that box and a check mark will appear. Handy dandy. We interrupt this program to bring you this important announcement. Some of you have noted that the check boxes don't check whenever you click on them. I'm not sure what's going on there. It may be a version of Word issue, and sometimes it's not working for me. Okay, there we go. So if that happens, simple solution, just come in before your option and type in X. That works really great. Or you can highlight your selection like that. So if the checkbox isn't working for you, just indicate your selection some other way. Also, I didn't go over the roster much in the other video, so especially if your roster, it applies only to individuals, make sure you list those individuals like Henry Gulker, or maybe you've got Lily Drake, something like that. Okay, back to our program. All right, what kind of HIP is this? This high-impact project, is it undergraduate research? No, it's not an internship. It's really kind of a service learning sort of high-impact practice. We're bringing in people from the community, and we're performing the service of developing a marketing strategy for them. So we'll go ahead and click that. HIP level, first year, developing, or senior level? I don't know. So the two asterisks say, refer to the HIP taxonomy for the selected HIP. So we have the service learning. We need the service learning taxonomy. So let's go back to EagleWeb. We're here in QEP still. And over here on the assessment reports we have here the different taxonomies: undergraduate research taxonomy, internship taxonomy, study abroad taxonomy, service learning taxonomy. We'll click on that. It's downloading. We'll open it up, and then we'll go through this. So here we are, service learning, and let's see how our project stacks up. So our learning objectives not stated. Learning objectives identified after the conclusion of the service event. Learning objectives identified after the start of the service event once experience become known. Isolated, perhaps coordinated objectives identified prior to the service event with a reasonable expectation that the service experience will provide rich connections, or coordinated learning objectives identified prior to the start of service with certain expectation that the service experiences will provide rich connections to academic concepts. Okay, let's think about this. Our professor here knows that they're going to be using different marketing principles in service with this organization. He knows that they're going to be working directly with these marketing principles and the service organization. He knows probably that some of the material they've covered up to this point will be necessary to do those tasks. And he knows probably that as they get into the tasks, questions will arise that will allow him to address other marketing concepts. So I feel pretty strongly that this particular arrangement is a level 4. Coordinated learning objectives. The professor knows what they need to know prior to starting it, and probably knows the areas in which they will want to investigate further after the service experience starts. And he's pretty certain that this service experience will provide rich connections to academic concepts. He knows that they're actually doing marketing, and so this would be rich experience. I'm going to enable editing, and just for myself, I'll go ahead and highlight 4 to remember that's where I decided this particular category of service learning is. Now let's look at structured reflection. There's no mentions of reflections on service learning activities. Reflections are required but freeform. A single structured reflection is assigned with prompts encouraging direct connections to learning objectives. Multiple structured reflections are assigned with prompts encouraging direct connections. Structured reflection is ongoing in form of regular journaling, directed course connections, etc., etc. Well, let's say in this course there are 3 assignments on specific topics that they're going to relate back to the service learning experience. I would say that's probably multiple instead of ongoing. So let me go ahead and highlight level 3 here. Service activity time frame. No service event, a single service event of 4 hours or less, a single service event 4 hours or more, ongoing regularly occurring service over half of a semester, ongoing regularly service over an entire semester. Again, I'm going to go with level 3. We're not bringing in the partner until the second half of the semester, but after that, it's going to be ongoing, regularly occurring service, sometimes with those individuals, sometimes after having consulted them and providing something for them. All right, partner needs. The university coordinator of service activities or faculty member joins existing service event. That doesn't apply. This is an event that's been coordinated directly for this course. Service partner expresses need to university coordinator who plans service activity, details of service activities, community to fact. No, this isn't a piggyback. This is something that the instructor has done with the service partner. Service partner expresses needs directly to faculty. Faculty develop service activities and learning objectives to meet these needs. Students have the opportunity to measure impact. This is pretty close. Service partner is intimately connected to faculty in an ongoing relationship, allowing for evolution of needs to be addressed by service. Course design and service learning objectives evolve over time to meet needs with possibility of students seeing positive change over time. This one's close. I'm going to say this is probably more of a one-off service event rather than an ongoing relationship after this organization has their marketing materials and marketing analysis. They might not need to come back. So this one's iffy. If you decide you're going to maintain contact with this partner through some other business courses, maybe led by the same instructor, we might go with 4. But again, I think I'm going to go with 3 on that one. And diversity. Service learning activities been primarily communities, individuals, and cultures familiar to the student. Service learning activities aid communities, individuals, and cultures different from those which are the student is familiar but has no contact with those beneficiaries. Service learning activities and communities, individuals, and cultures different from those in which the student is familiar. Representatives of that community are available for student interaction. Service learning activities result in immersive, limited instance contact with communities, individuals, and cultures different from those with which the student is familiar. And ongoing contact. This one is another little bit tricky one. in this particular case. We could say that this is a culture that is different in that it is a service organization, and perhaps the culture there is that they're a part of a already existing organization, and so the students are not familiar with that culture. This perhaps is not quite the spirit of the diversity category here, but at the very least, we could look at this and say that there is some limited instance contact with the communities and individuals. So we'll go ahead and highlight that one there. Okay, so add the scores from these 5 categories, and we'll see where we line up. So we have a 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 3 is 13, plus 3 is 16. So we have more than 15. We indeed have a senior level HIP. So now going back to our QEP assessment report, we can tick senior level event. Okay. Now this is going to apply to the entire roster, meaning all the students in this course are a part of this service activity. It may be that some students pass the course and some students don't pass the course. The record we will have is if a student was exposed to this high impact service event, and then the entire roster was exposed to that high impact service learning activity, but maybe only those that gain course credit will count as having successfully encountered that high impact practice. Now, as you know, right now, this being our baseline year, we're just trying to identify the courses and get a basic lay of the land. We don't expect you to have any assessments yet for these things. In the future, you will go ahead and fill out the assessments. One of those assessments is going to be the QEP reflection, QEP Objective 2 reflection, and then you would give your target and then the actual data and analysis. We're not going to do that right now because we haven't been collecting that data. Budget impact of QEP 1. Are there materials that the students maybe need, or is there a budget that would make this activity even more impactful in the future? Maybe they do need a small budget for work with a graphic designer or for work with a print shop. Possibly those costs could be covered by the service partner in this case. So we'll say none right now. And then here we have the description of the HIP and highlights. So here's where you would put something like students studied principles of marketing in the first 7 weeks of the course. In week 8, a representative from Etowah Rivershed Alliance met with the students during class time to describe marketing needs and the activities of the organization. Students used this information to come up with a marketing plan, including informational brochures about the organization's activities, a social media strategy for promoting upcoming events, developed a color scheme and logo for marketing efforts, and outlined a marketing strategy for the next 12 months, something like that. Brag a little bit. The organization was thrilled with the logo design from Darius Stradivelli, one of our marketing students. After some rounds of critique and redesign, the organization adopted this logo. The logo was used in a tri-fold brochure explaining past activities and also was used in creating the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter social presence. These students will be able to see their impact on, marketing acumen at work in the real world anytime they visit one of these presences. Additionally, yada, 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 right? Just brag for a little bit, okay? And that's pretty much it, okay? We've got, you've identified the course, the instructor, the objective, the high impact practice, the level that it implies to the entire roster. We're not going to assess it this year, so you don't need to worry with whether you met, partially met, or did not meet the objectives here. And you've described what happened so that somebody else could reasonably go in and confirm that this is a senior level HIP. And you've provided some highlights. And that's it. I hope that makes sense. What you would do then, of course, is you would save it. QEP Assessment Business 364 2019. And then you would email that to me. So log into your email client, attach it, and send it on its way. Okay, to recap. Go to EagleWeb, OIRE, QEP. Download the assessment report. You will probably then need to download whichever taxonomy best fits the HIP that you are reporting. Then go through the process. Make sure you have your course code, the instructor, which objective, which HIP, and the HIP level, and brag. Save it, send it to me. I hope this was helpful. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here to help. All right, bye-bye.